Hallo und herzlich willkommen, greetings and welcome, ich Ishtan Hazat, in this episode of our journey to Sovngarde. I'm Nardak Wolf, the guy who is working on the TTS port of Texel, and today I will be showing you the Sovngarde collection. These are cards that I have made for this version of Texel that is played in TTS. Before going through the cards that will be added to the game, I would like to point out the line that is under the Sovngarde collection. If you don't like it, by it I mean the cards that I will show you, then you can just ask your opponent to play without these, and the game will be just like as it was in client. But the reason that I have decided to create these cards is that we had card arts for these cards, training cards, because when Tassel launched, and I haven't been playing back then, but I know because I have heard it from others, there were cards that you got a weaker version of first, and then as you leveled, these cards got updated. As an example, we had Divine Conviction, and then we had Divine Fervor. You got Divine Conviction early, which was a support that gave 1 health to each of your creatures, and then it got updated to Divine Fervor, which is the Fervor that we know in the latest form. It gives +1/+1 to everything on your board. So we had cards like these, but these are unplayable cards. So in some cases, I took the idea that were on the card originally and I added it a little more flavor. Like with Divine Conviction, we will see that I gave it another text beside the +1 health. And then in other cases, I just gave it a new reason to exist. And the new cards will always be niche cards that cannot be played in a wide variety of decks. The goal is not to change the meta, the goal is to just give some decks a little more agency. Most of these will be tribals, but we have a few support cards for other game mechanics as well, as an example for items. So without further ado, let's actually look at the cards themselves. First up, we have Scuttler, Mortal Watchman, and Riad Nomad. As you can see, we will start with red. Scuttler is made for animal decks. Originally it was a 1 cost 1/2, but of course you would not play something like that, even though it is an animal. So since it would only be played in animal decks, then I gave it something that helps in those animal decks. Then we have Mortal Watchman. Of course, this is also a card that were already in the game, so this is not from the training mechanics. We had some vanilla cards that I also included in the Sovngarde collection. So just give them some text because you don't want to port cards that do nothing and you would never play them. So I just gave them something so there is a reason for them to exist in the game. Mortal Watchman was a 1 cost 2/1 and now on summon it will remove cover from a random enemy creature in this lane. Then we have Rehad Nomad. This was the weak form of Rehad Horseman and Rehad Battle Mage, the ones that gain +3/+0 and breakthrough or +0/+3 and guard when you equip an item on them. And this is just a 2 cost 2/2 that is immune to silence while equipped with an item. Then we have Valenwood Trapper. When an enemy creature gains cover in this lane, deal 1 damage to it. We have Orc Clansman. On summon it gives a friendly Orc +1/+1. And Whiterun Recruit, who gains +1/+1 for each friendly Nord in this lane. So you see that some of these are centered around game mechanics that weren't really explored, like cover, or just tribes, like Orc, like Nord. Then we have Whiterun Trooper. The reason I put it before the Alikar Pandit is because Whiterun Trooper is tied to the Whiterun Recruit that you just saw, since Whiterun Recruit was the weak form of Whiterun Trooper, and now we have the Trooper. On summon gains now breakthrough if you have another Nord. Alikar Bandit was the weak form of Alikar Survivalist, the 4 cost 3/4 that gives you a Steel Dagger and gains +1/+1 when you equip it with an item, and this is just the same card without the initial Steel Dagger gain. Then we have Reclusive Giant. This was the weak form of Vigilant Giant. It has breakthrough and on summon give a creature guard. It doesn't have the draw a card effect, but you can now sneak this in the shadow lane or just protect it with another creature because of the summon effect. Then we have Initiate of Hircine. This actually isn't the weak form of Aspect of Hircine, but of Child of Hircine, the 6 cost 6/7 that can attack again on Slay. And now this version will be at 3/4. The cost is the same at 6, and on summon you can choose if you give it charge 4+2+2, and on Slay may attack again this turn, which means that you can clear 2 creatures with it if you give it charge, or just use it as a weaker form of Child of Her Sin if there is no good reason for the charge. And that's it for the reds. Now going to blue, we have Camlearn Adventure. Summon gains ward if you have another Breton. This is again a support for tribes, this time for Breton. Then we have Winter's Touch. This is actually one of the cards that I'm wary of, and there is a chance that I will have to change it in a later patch. Because this is a 4-cost prophecy that shackles all enemy creatures in a lane. The 5-cost version of Winter's Grasp shackles all enemy creatures in both lanes. So at 4, it is kind of alright, but it has prophecy, and blue has already so many prophecies, we'll see. Then we have the discard. It has guard, and when you shackle an enemy creature, the discard gains +1/+1. This is another support for shackle decks, although there is so many shackle cards for 4 now that you can't play all of them. Then we have Fate's Witness, a 6-cost 3/3 prophecy that on summon puts a random prophecy into your hand. Then we have Expert Aetromancer, the altered form of Supreme Aetro, because the original Expert Aetromancer was just a 10-cost 3/3 that summoned 2 Flame Aetros, and now the way I changed it, this will summon 2 Frost Aetros, and when you summon a creature, you deal 1 damage. Not 2 damage to your opponent, but 1 damage to anywhere, but it is a 12-cost and only is a 2/2, so it is easier to remove. Then we have Student of Arms, the weak form of Master of Arms. Originally this just equipped the highest cost item. Now you can choose the item you want to equip on Student of Arms, but it only equips 1, so the same as the Student of Arms from the training mechanic. Moving to yellow, we have Apprentice's Potion. It will be a 1-cost action that gives you 3 health. Then we have Ketereth Veteran. This was a vanilla 2-cost 1/5, and it was a Khajiit, so you would only play this in Khajiit decks. The way I made it even more Khajiit centered is that on Pilfer it gains +1/+0 if you have another Khajiit. Then we have Detain. This is a 1-cost action that shackles a creature. The weak form of Imprisonment, the 2-cost action that shackles, or if you have 4 or more willpower creatures, then it destroys the creature. We have Skingrat Patroller. This was a vanilla card, and now on summon gains 1 health if you have no other creatures in this lane. We have Imperial Legionnaire. This was a vanilla card. Now on summon you can give a friendly Imperial Grunt +1/+1. Starved Hunger is the weak form from Ravenous Hunger, the 2-cost 4/1 that on summon gains drain if there is an enemy creature in this lane. Starved Hunger instead gives you 4 health on Slay. I have already talked about Divine Conviction. It was a 4-cost support that gave friendly creatures a health. Now creatures can gain cover, so this is actually a powerful card that you can consider in board-based control decks. Then we have Tusk Bristleback. This was a vanilla card. Now, if something will deal exactly 1 damage to it, you can reduce the damage to 0. And then we have Hive Worker. This will be a Quama support, and this is why I told you that these are very niche cards that are made for certain decks. Can't really be played outside of those decks. As you can see, right now, if there is just the core set and the Sovngarde collection, Hive Worker is useless. But later on, there will be the Quama that summons 2 other Quamas, and then has +1 for each Quama, the Quama Queen, I think. And then maybe you can do something with Hive Defender, Hive Worker, maybe play the Hive Warrior, the Quama Queen, and then you have some sort of synergy, but it's still not good. Then we have Rising Legate. This is the weak form of the Renowned Legate, but maybe it's actually the stronger form with the change, because this just used to summon a Imperial Grunt. Now it summons 1 in each lane. Then moving to green, we have Dune Rogue. This was the weak form from either the Dune Merchant or the Dune Smuggler. Now Dune Rogue is just a 2-cost 3/1 with Prophecy, and on Pilfer it moves. Then we have Guild Recruit. It has lethal if you have 7 or more max magicka. We have Hellstrom Footbed, who was just a vanilla card already in the game. Now it says when you reach 7 max magicka, then you can draw a card. A quick note on Guild Recruit, it was just a 1 quest 1/2 Argonian, and now it has some flavor, but you would only play these in Argonian centered decks anyway. Then we have Twilight Verbet, the weak form from Moonlight Verbet. This will be a 4 cost for 2 with Prophecy, and on Last Gasp you gain 3 health. And finishing the greens, we have Anxilil Invader. This was also just a vanilla card. It will now have Prophecy if you have 7 or more max magicka. We have Vice Brigand, the weak form from Wild Beast Color. This will summon a 2/3 Snowfox. It's a 5 cost instead of 6, but it's only a 3/3. And then we have Kryn Roll Skulkler, an original brew. It has 4/4 and on Pilfer gains +1/+1 for each Khajiit in your discard pile. Now starting in Girins, we have Rotting Draugr. When an enemy creature attacks Rotting Draugr, you silence the attacking creature. Archon Gorilla is a 4 cost 2/3 with lethal, and on summon gains cover if you have another Argonian. So you can sneak this into the field lane and then take something out with the lethal. Then we have Cave Graal, the weak version of Angry Graal, but actually this might be a better version of it, because Angry Graal is just useless. 4 cost 2/4 which regenerate, and Cave Graal doesn't lose cover at the start of your turn, so if you move it to field and then just it stays there, you will have the initiative over trading. Then we have Northpoint Lieutenant. On summon, it puts a Makeshift Defenses into your hand. Obviously, Makeshift Defenses isn't a core card, it is from the Alliance War, but we will move it ahead so it will be in the created cards list, just so we can have it with Northpoint Lieutenant. Northpoint Lieutenant used to be just a 4 cost for 2, now it gained this summon. It was a training card, the weak form from Northpoint Herald, I think. The one that is a 4 cost for 2 that summons a 0/4 guard. And then we have Night Patrol. This evolved either into Night Shadow or Night Prowler, the 6 cost 6/5 Breakthrough Drain, or the originally 6 cost 5/6 Breakthrough and Regeneration, but instead the second version is now a 5 cost 4/5 with the same keywords. Night Patrol is, however, a 6 cost 5/5 with Breakthrough, and on Slay you either gain 2 health or heal Night Patrol by 2. Then we have Volhikar Lord. This was the card that evolved into either Blood Magic Lord or Night Helen Lord. Volhikar Lord is a 9 cost 7/7 drain, and on Slay you summon a random creature from your discard pile. And moving to the end of this video, we reach Nature Loss. We have Stalking Crocodile. This is a 2 cost 3/2 that on summon you must deal 1 damage to a friendly creature or to yourself. The text will be edited by the next expansion when I release the Madhouse collection in just a few weeks. Then we have Ferocious Drew. On Last Gasp, you shuffle a Drew Shell Armor into your deck and reduce its costs by 1. Drew Shell Armor is a 4 cost item that gives you +3/+3. And then we have Snapping Drew. It is a 4 cost 3/3. On Last Gasp, you give a creature +1/+1 or a Drew +3/+3. You can compare this to Haunting Spirit, just for Drew decks. And then the last card from the Sovngarde collection is Stronghold Prototype. It is a 5 cost 2/3 Dwemer that on Last Gasp you can summon a random Dwemer. And with that, we reach the end of this video. I hope that I might convince you to get a friend, grab TTS, and try Tassel in Sovngarde out. I made it so you can continue playing Tassel even after the shutdown, so hopefully you will appreciate it, and I will see you in the next episode of our journey to Sovngarde with the Madhouse collection. Until then, Servus und Farewell, Isten Ovion.